And you're seeing this because we ran out of time in the virtual workshop, and I wanted to share some of the things that I have for you because I think hopefully that they might come in handy and feel important to you. So I'm going to keep going. So use what you find was kind of the point that was coming up here. Utilize circle. The children were sitting here. Use that as an opportunity for stillness. If you have multiple options, maybe it could be some fur. I live in an area where there is an enormous amount of people that hunt, and I asked some hunters to share some of their pelts with us, right, that had been treated and were an amazing teaching tool. You can do a observation ID by printing out pictures of those animals and saying, okay, here's the furs, or you can even use pictures of fur if you can't get access to the real thing. And how do you know which animal is which? Okay, not just color but texture, and how do you understand these things? So being a scientist really is observation, and being able to observe something, maybe pose a question. And children are fantastic at this sort of inquiry based learning. And maybe you have a couple of question prompts, like we did here. Okay, is the texture of this what you expected it to be? Oh no, it's actually a bit heavier than I thought, but also softer. And this student found a piece of red Christmas like tinsel plastic in there. And he said, I wonder whether the bird picked that because he really liked the colour, or whether it's bad that the plastic is in the bird's nest. Oh my goodness. Perhaps both, but really able to do this. And then as a teacher, what I have is I'll have a clipboard with a box for each student with their name. And I will say, okay, this child spoke to, asked a question, spoke in relationship, was able to look at opposing views, was able to articulate empathy for thinking like a bird. And it was really, really powerful thing. So, really great science. I'm obsessed with rocks. That was my undergrad, really into rocks. And so I'm really into rock sorting, okay? Classification and things. Again, very colonial, but also a massive part of most math, physics, and science. We're going to do sortings, we're going to do patterns. And in order to do that, we have to be able to do some sort of pattern recognition. So we're lucky here, we live right along the banks of a river, so I've got loads of rocks. If not, collect them on your trips, put them in a quite heavy duty bag, say 15 rocks. Try and get some of different shapes and sizes. You can also get them from online if that's really necessary, but I really just like to take it as a thing. And you put them down. They found sticks to make a square here, and then you ask them, give them 2 minutes, they have to sort the rocks. So most students of any age, I've done this with kindergartners all the way up to grade 12, who we asked to do it, to really, with a table, note the name of the category and all these things. But they'll go by colour or size, generally they'll start, and then ask them to mix it all up again, or just leave it as it is, and then you get another 2 minute timer. Okay, sort them by a different category now. So after size and shape, you normally start getting into things like texture, which can actually tell you a lot about the history of the rock, and also its journey that it's gone on. And what does color actually tell you about a rock, right? Does it tell you that it's a different rock or from a different part? So we can really start doing some analysis. Older grade students, you can then start looking at, say, some of the geological maps of your area. What kind of rocks do we have here? How does that impact my life? Are people rock climbers? Do you live in a canyon? Why is the canyon as it is? And you can really start looking at some of those older grade things around the geological understanding, the hydrological cycle, and really diving deep into some great research based products there. I would also say that now I never ever do a rock sorting lesson without speaking to the Indigenous relationship with rocks as elders, as the people that we stand our knowledge and our bodies on, that hold history, that hold spirit. And so I will read a book like Sealer in the Land by Shelby Anglock and Ariana Roundpoint, that speak to the importance of rocks. There's also some great stuff in Braiding Sweetgrass, both the young adults version and the adult version. But I will always now start with a conversation. Also, we'll go in a circle, we'll find a rock that we find that we like, we'll find a rock that speaks to us, and we'll get to know it, we'll look at it, we might smell it, we won't taste, but we'll use all of our senses to connect to that rock. And then we're going to go in a circle, but facing out. And then we're going to put our rocks behind our backs. And this again generally works with grade 7 or up. The sevens might still be a bit silly with it, but if you do it right, or practice, it can be really, really great. So we hold our rocks behind our back, we're in a circle facing out. And then what you're going to do is you're going to pass it. You're going to pass rocks. So we're receiving a rock from one side, we're passing to the left, and we keep going until we think we've felt our rock. And if you've got older rule students who are into this, you can change directions a couple of times. You can make sure they haven't counted how many passes. Somebody will drop it inevitably and tell people if they drop your rock, pick your rock up and we'll start again. But it's really interesting to see whether they have that observation without the eyes of touch, of sensation, of feeling, and that is all great scientific work. They can even write up, sketch, do a drawing of their rock. Why were they interested in it? What features does it have? Is it sharp? Start to describe, is it sharp or smooth? Does the texture change over it? Does it have flat edges? Are there any layers to it? And we can start to use those things to decipher whether it is a metamorphic, an igneous, or a sedimentary rock. Students, soil. Okay, so some of you might not have planting spaces, you might not have garden beds. That's okay. And some of you will have, oh my God. Okay, sorry, got caught up there for a second. Soil is the best thing. Maybe you have garden beds, maybe you don't. These little soil bags students got to take home and they were donated. I have an organisation called Shade Cells Canada, which is actually in my town, and these are scraps. They make these planter bags out of scraps, and they enabled us. We also got a bunch of donations from garden centres. If you're in BC, you can look up the Habitat Conservation Trust Foundation for Grow grants, or LEAP grants if you're in high school, for getting resources like this. Or on our partner page, you'll find a bunch of organizations that might be able to help you with planting. Every student planted a seed in this school. It's only a few hundred students, but every student. We also got a bunch of lovely soil and compost donated from our transfer station that has its own compost. We went on a tour, we learned about the away, or where things go when we don't want them anymore, and then we found this. You want to tire out some grade 7 high energy kids who are normally flipping on their skis or mountain biking, or if you're in an urban environment, maybe they do that too, but maybe they just have a lot of energy. Shovel giant truckload of compost or soil will do the trick. It is very excellent. So we learned about different things. We did pollinator species, we did food species, and then students got to take them home. You can track them on the windowsill if that's the only space that you've got. You can track their growth. How long is it today? What do we notice about it? Does it have multiple leaves? Are things growing? What do you need from there? There are so many fantastic resources to sort this. Um, Doing math in the garden is amazing. Seed Packets do amazing math. And over here, this amazing book in both English and French also does this. We have gardening kits for students. We have books about soil, getting kids over their yuckiness with soil. Soil is amazing. And in a pinch of soil, there are more bacteria and microorganisms than there are people on earth. And most of them are designed to keep you well, right? Like your good gut bacteria. Dopamine, serotonin is released when we put our hands in soil. And if you don't like if you have children who do not like to put their hands in soil, gloves, fantastic. Okay, again, get a grant, get your local community foundation, get your local bank to sponsor this sort of stuff and have a class set and go out there. Read Indigenous works connected to plants, connected to medicine, and plant some a sensory garden, even if it's just in small pots, or plant seeds. Get beans, runner beans, in a plastic bag, and grow half of them in the windowsill, taped to the window, and half of them in a dark cupboard, and see what happens. Have students take notes. Always notes, always going outside, noting down what's happening. What do they see, smell, hear? Yeah, that's me showing off. I like to ski, but I really love water. I really love water in all its forms. I like it when it's solid like this. If you live in a place with snow, snow is amazing. You can, when it sinters, when it's sat for a while, you can cut blocks out of it. You can use saws to cut into it. You can use measuring sticks to see what's happening at different places. And I also like water when it's liquid, when it's melted. That's my little dog Otis. So I'm really obsessed with teaching water. It doesn't have to be a pristine lake, it can be a puddle. We can dip net for things. We can do macroinvertebrate studies. There are all kinds of checklists and field guides that help you do that. But honestly, um, we have a super salmon learning kit, right? It comes with models of fish. You can see that in the middle picture here. It comes with all these memory matching cards, and then learning to do an amazing this is us doing a fish migration game that comes in the activities that comes. Connections to water is great, and it can be purely learning, physical and scientific. And you have a fire with your students. You might be able to go to a river. It could also be in a old pie dish, doing a one match fire on your playground, learning about the fire triangle. Okay, fuel, oxygen, heat, oxygen, and fuel. So the heat, you have to get a certain amount of heat. Anyway, pie dishes, ask the church after they've had a bake sale, or after go to a local bakery and ask them. Um, you can have amazing small fires. But if it's not this, maybe it's just, let's say you've only got a green field, it's sit pads and a couple of candles, electric candles. If you live in a place that's windy, they're going to blow out, right? Dollar store. And it's having circle story time and having this connection to place. And when you're out there sitting in that space, what do I notice? What are we seeing here? What can we have? And what knowledge can we gain from this place? What can we note down? What can we measure? What patterns do we see? Can we sit in that place and notice what the difference is? How many folks, humans, can go past versus cars or bikes? How many birds do we see? How many different types of birds do we see? All the things. What different materials do we see here, and why might there be those different materials? I love testing water. There's an amazing kit. It comes with all the instructions and cards to note data. You don't have to be an expert to understand, to know what's going on. These electrical conductivity meters are super simple. It's literally just turn on, bop, put into the water, and it gives you all the information that you need. This is me doing it with grade 12s. We've been doing this for years. So the lake that you can see probably in the next, even the kids thought it was cool. This lake is a really popular swimming lake where I live. And just behind these trees, what used to be pristine forest is now been cut down to make way for a massive golf course. So directly downstream. And we have this amazing baseline of data now because we've been doing this for years with the students every May and October. Kits, simple water testing. We're submitting that data to Living Lakes Canada, or there's a lot of other community science places you can direct that, and they will know the temperature and the changes and water quality of these places. And the kids, despite the serious looks of them, they actually really enjoy doing it. There's a bunch of different resources, Indigenous resources. We have Strong Science, which is all linked to different animals and understanding them, understanding the way that they change during seasons and grow and develop. It's amazing. And it comes with a full curriculum, the Strong Science, with these beautiful picture books as well. There are Indigenous resources of plant guides, salmon kits, books that just encourage you to go outside and connect to it to start. And our Green Teacher Resource Bank has an enormous amount of resources, articles, ideas that can take you there. And as Otis looks on at the otters, which he did not chase onto the ice, this is literally just a snapshot of some of our partners that I'd like specifically about water. Water testing is easy to do. You could even, if the only thing you have access to is rainwater, put a bucket under the eaves of your school where it comes off, or puddles versus tap water. And if you don't even have rainwater coming off your building, tap water versus bottled water. Test water, get students making observations, noting data down, analyzing that data, and you will have kids who are connected to the world. Also, ask them, why is water important to you? Where do you use water? Do you ski? Do you paddleboard? Do you swim in the pool? Where is water in you? You're 60% water, right? It's easy for them to get a connection to it if you give them the opportunity. Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Have a lovely evening or whatever time you're watching this. Take care.